Between the two of them.
The inside of Coates.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
We haven't been cancelled yet, so we're back because it's Tuesday evening. Welcome along to our third event of the VRRC mini challenge, our official mini challenge, which reaches Oulton Park virtually in Cheshire. I much prefer the virtual version, as I said last week, because you don't have to queue up for 2 hours to get out the track, and it's not a 4-hour drive home as well. So that's all good. Richard John Neal here with Archie Johnson. Archie, thank you ever so much for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me on. I'm very looking forward to the racing.
It should be good. A big thanks to Steve Allen, who's looking after the broadcast and direction for us as well here on the Cheshire configuration. Should be a good evening. We've had two really good rounds to kick us off. We were at Donington obviously a while ago, 2 weeks ago, Snetterton last week. We'll have a little bit of a recap on that as we get around. This is a quick reminder of the calendar. It takes us through to the end of the summer break that we're having from BTCC at the moment, and it gets going again a little bit past that, taking us up to the final round, round 7, which mirrors real life and takes place on the Brands Hatch GP circuit. But we've got Croft to look forward to next week, Silverstone National round 5, and Thruxton, the penultimate round 6, on the 5th of August. Then that sort of couple of weeks break to get us ready for the fight. Put your teeth in it for the finale, too many Fs. So I won't be effing too much today. You'll be pleased to know, therefore. The format today, as ever, is qualifying, followed by the 2 races. We'll have a quick look at the championship table. Lewis Stannard joined us last week. Now, because we have one drop round for everybody, after the first 2 events, you just count the one. So Lewis jumped straight in and got, with his excellent results, a win and a podium, and driving the round, takes the championship lead by 6 points from Andy Dorman, with Andy Carroll next up from Lee Piercy. Thomas Potter is 5th, but Thomas not racing this weekend. You will see the car on track. It is being piloted by his sister, Kat Potter, who joins us from some of the other VRRC championships. Welcome, Kat, and good luck. For those of you saying you can't car share, we did tout the idea of some team cars earlier on in the championship, but because Kat is deputising for Thomas, not racing a team car, she will score half points for this one. So it could well end up being a drop score. But welcome, Kat. Great that the car is out there. 6th place is Harry Hickton, who's looking pretty quick at the moment in the testing that we've had up before this event. 7th is Alex Solly. Mackenzie Taylor 8th from James Black, who was our driver of the round in our first week. And William Yap completes the top 10. So we move on to 11th place. Paul Laramie is there from Will Clark and Kenny Press, who's had a couple of good rounds. Will Crooks next from Alex Walker. Callum Einstein and Jack McCall in 17th. Zach Hancock's debut with us last week. He is 18th ahead of Kevin Yap. And Chris McKenzie. Not sure we've got Chris today, just having a quick look down to see if he is there. He is there. Welcome, Chris. Maybe just arrived back from work in the Bitcoin racing car. He rounds out our top 20. Murray Richardson is 21st from Henry Howarth. More of Henry anon. Christian Gillian recovering. He has entered the championship, but he's recovering from a broken arm. Hopefully he'll be back with us before the end of the campaign. And 2 more drivers yet to race. Monroe Renard is with us today. Absolutely delighted to welcome him to the championship. I think he's on the slap wrist already because he didn't go to the driver briefing. So you do have to go to the briefing, and particularly mind what happened last week. Haven't seen Simon Sweetland yet for the Max G Motorsport car, but hopefully we will see him before the end of the season. And that's me taking far too long talk about everybody in the championship table. That's where we are. Recap from last week. Lewis Stannard, our overall winner from Lee Piercy and Andy Dorman. That's the points over the 3 races. And after a stunning debut, it was Lewis Stannard that earned the respect of everybody to gain him driver of the round. We'll have another one of those this week, so we all have to get our thinking caps on and sort of bash some ideas around in race 2 via the chat facility, see if we can work out who should be driver of the round. I'm guessing most of you know Oulton Park from having watched various formulae there over the years. This is the layout, and it's a effectively 17-turn course, dipping up and down the landscape in the trees and beautiful countryside. Quite a narrow track, tricky circuit as well, and we're looking forward to seeing how the racing pans out. The thing I'm not looking forward to, though, is the top 10 reverse and going down into Old Hall Corner, because that, I think, is going to be interesting, to say the least. As ever, we've got a hot lap to show you, and that will be next up. And your guide around the hot lap with me is going to be Archie Johnson. Archie, who races in JCW Sport with Jam Sport. So great to have a Jam Sport presence for the second week on the trot. Obviously, Henry Howarth, the first Jam Sport man to join us in the championship last week, and Archie with us today. Your guide around the track, as far as the filming goes, is Andy Carroll, who lies third in the championship at the moment in the orange and silver car. And Archie, maybe you could give us a driver's perspective of Oulton Park.
Going into turn 1, reaching over 100 miles an hour, you can brake a lot later than what you think you can. You've got to watch out for the track limits on the exit as well. They've got sensors and they're very strict with track limits. Going down into Cascades now, tricky braking zone, as there is a little bump just before braking, so you can lock up your tyres. And on exit as well, you've got to watch out for track limits again. Going into the hairpin now, it's a very bumpy braking zone. Difficult to find a reference, but you just got to get a feel for it, get it turned in and minimise the wheel spin out of the corner. Now going into the chicane, a lot of drivers sometimes go over to the right as it's lower down because of the gradient, but it depends. Braking it just before the 50 board. Don't want to take too much of that curb in real life, but in the sim it seems like you can. And can cut as much as that as you want, as long as you don't hit the tyre bale in real life. Now up the hill, you don't want too many wheel inputs. Going into Druid, such a difficult corner, so quick, you don't know whether you can take more speed or, you know, it's so difficult to get a feel for how quick you want to take it. And then going into the last corner, another bumpy braking zone, down 2 gears, and you need to watch out for track limits again on the exit. They're very strict with them around here. And then going up down to the line, you want to make sure you take a straight enough line so then you don't scrub any speed.
Nice lap,
Pretty good lap.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, nicely guided round, Archie. Thanks for that. Good to get the driver's perspective, as you say. And track limits, because it's MSV, it tends to happen more. We were at Croft on the weekend doing some other stuff. Very little in the way of track limits at Croft for varying reasons, but I think the main reason I came out with it's not an MSV track, and they were not too worried about the grass at Croft. But
well, at Croft,
anyway.
they do it by like judge of fact, don't they, at Croft? So
they do. That always makes me laugh, judge of fact, because a lot of it isn't a fact, is it?
No.
But usually it's a lot of no, I'm not going to go there, I'm going to get told off. Judge of fact is often not the case of what we get. I do quite like Oulton Park as a circuit. It's very unusual as well. If that was a live onboard lap and we were doing a live broadcast for real at the track, you tend to get a little bit of break-up. I know the ITV directors always like pulling their hair out, those of them that have got hair. Unlike me, when you get that climb up towards Druids, we tend to lose the signals, which is, if you ever watch a live broadcast from there, you'll see that they don't always go for a full lap. But anyway, that's enough about the broadcast side of it, and we've got the lap times underway. Harry Hickton has been very quick. We're looking at him in the blue and pink car. Been quick in the practice, and at the moment he's setting the benchmark for the qualifying session ahead of Lewis Stannard as well. So the real world driver is really impressing at the moment in this series.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Harry wasn't here too long ago. He was pretty quick as well. To say it was his first time at the track, showed what pace he really has. And Lewis as well. I'm pretty sure he raced here with the Citroen Saxo, so I'm sure he's got a bit of experience already around here as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should have checked out whether he'd done a Saxo round or not here. He missed the last one, as he explained last week. I hope his mum's doing well and the recovery is going well. And yeah, whatever angle you've got, it's a great track for a driver, brilliant track for spectators as well, and you can very easily get from the outside to the inside and vice versa to look at different places to come and watch. The island circuit is the one we use on the touring car program, hence the one we're using on our VRRC Mini Challenge UK Championship round. So Hickton on pole at the moment, provisionally. Lewis Stannard in second place. That was a quick look at Andy Carroll, who's in P4. And Andy third in the championship. So as you saw, Lewis Stannard leading it, therefore he carries the most ballast at the moment of 30 kg. Andy Dorman 27 kg, and I've got to say Lewis doing very well considering he's had that extra lump of weight in the car to add to him. Yeah. So
I agree. I mean, I'm sure he'll be coming off a positive note and have a big confidence boost going into this round after a very dominant display at Snetterton.
Yeah, it was good for the championship. I don't suppose it was good for the regulars, but it's always great to welcome a new driver in and to see them do well. I was actually busy chatting about him at the weekend, and it has got a lot of people talking that are watching it, and a lot of people are watching what's going on. So we've got two real world drivers at the top, with in fact three, because it's Alex Solly, the top sim lad at the moment, is Andy Carroll. And Jack McCall doing well. So the Manpower Motorsport guys, Harry Hickton and Jack McCall, first and fifth at the moment. Well done, Jack. Jack is, I think, the youngest driver in the competition. He's up to P6, which is absolutely brilliant. As we watch Alex Solly in P5 at the moment, Andy Dorman going up to P4. Lee Pearcey coming up into third, one of our real world drivers, a late entrant to this. I think he's also doing tomorrow night's touring car championship as well. As Alex Solly comes in, Lewis Stannard gets a little bit of a lock up there. And in fact drops, and coming into the picture now is Henry Houth going up into second place as we watch Lee Pearcey, fresh off of his runner-up slot in the VRRC World Endurance League in the Ferrari GT3. But James Black goes second. Now lots of times, Jay, this is just like a real-world session. And yeah, lots of changes going on. Who do you fancy out of that lot?
I don't know. I mean, I'm expecting Henry to definitely be up there. Being teammates with him, I know what he's about. I know he enjoys this track, so I'm definitely expecting him to be up there.
Have you given him any stick about, because regular viewers, if they haven't looked at the results, won't know that him and Harry were disqualified for their shenanigans last week?
No, yeah, I've given him a talking to. I'm expecting him to be quick as well, seeing as he's not got really any ballast as well, so he's not really got that excuse of being overweight with the car. But like he messaged me, he said he's quicker in the races than what he is in qualifying. So if that is the case, I'm expecting him to do very well.
Yeah, you said that off air, that he's better in the race. So if he's third in qualifying at the moment, then he should be steaming away with the race. So we'll see what Henry can do. It was his 18th birthday last week as well, so I hope he had a good day, and it was really good to welcome him back. And Harry Hickton as well. He had a judicial with Luke Cordell as well as Rich Hayden, who do the clerking for this. So it is, we try to keep it as fair as possible and keep an eye on things. And it's disappointing when you have to go and see the clerk, but it's necessary, and it tries to keep things good for everyone. Great to see James Black in P2, our first weekend driver. I said weekend again. I knew I'd get the days wrong. Our first week driver of the round. James was quick there and recovered exceedingly well from some adversity in race one, which is how he earned that. So we know he's got the pace, James Black, as we watch Jack McCall, who has dropped a little bit from where he was, but still really impressive to be up in the top 10. Jack McCall 9th at the moment. And as the youngster, I think, Thomas Potter isn't old enough to race in junior racing. I'm pretty sure Jack is even younger than him, so Jack's got a longer wait even before he can join the junior ranks, be it JSCC Ginetta or VRSCC Fiesta, or maybe Junior Autocross or whatever it is that he would like to do. But doing a super job in 9th place, ahead of Paul Laramie, who we're looking at now with the green and burgundy coloured car in 10th place. Alex Walker behind him running well too, and then Kenny Press on the timing screen. Just having a quick look at Monroe Reynard. Great to have him here. He's 15th at the moment, Monroe, so good to see him on his debut. And again, a really good turnout this evening for the championship. Almost at the halfway stage. That will come at Croft next week. Let's flip back up to the top. Harry Hickton still there from James Black, Lewis Stannard, Henry Houth. I'll tell you what though, Archie, we've got, it's always the same, but the drivers we got at the top, all good. They're going to give us a great race, all of those four. The expectation is very high. And it should be exciting with the people we've got at the front.
Definitely. I mean, I'm sure the racing is going to be great. I know a few of them from real life racing. I know they're all great racers. They can race cleanly and they've got good racecraft. So I'm sure it's going to be a great race.
And you're in the JCW Sports, which is a great little category, and running with Jam Sport. And flipping heck, you know, Jam Sport's a strong lineup this year, isn't it?
Oh no, definitely. I mean, having 3 drivers in me, Henry, and the scholarship winner Nicky, we felt confident going into the season, and I think the results that we've had this season have shown how quick we can be, and you know the dominance that we can show during the races.
Jamie was leading by example at the weekend. He was out at Oulton Park. He was here, wasn't he? And
yeah, he was.
Got a Masters win in the Masters Cup. I don't think of Jamie going as a Master because he doesn't really look old enough, but he did win the Masters category first time out for 6 years, I think, in a 150.
Yeah, it's been a long time. He'd raced in the VRRC 240 Championship. I don't know whether he's going to make an appearance maybe later on in the year back in the 240s. I know he'd love to, but no, he did well, I have to say. His race starts were unbelievable, and just his racecraft over all the experience he's got, you know, it really showed throughout the weekend.
And he puts a lot back into the sport with the scholarships that he's running, the VRSC Fiesta Juniors, and now the Mini scholarship. So he's helped a lot of youngsters. Just having the scholarship there is a help for youngsters being able to enter it and get that experience. Let alone, definitely. You know, if you win it, it's a mega experience as well. And he's doing the same again for the adults in the Mini Championship, which is great.
Well, I came through their Fiesta Junior scholarship, which gave me the opportunity to ultimately race, and you know I'm forever grateful for it. And I think what they're doing with the JCW Sport scholarship as well is brilliant. As you can see with Nicky coming through it, he's got a win under his belt, a couple of podiums, and he's showing strong pace.
And coming all the way from Malta to do it, which is a great story. And I'm guilty. We've not really managed to get that story across to our ITV viewers. We need to do that. I'm trying to get some time. Maybe we can get him on a grid walk or something like that if we get a chance later in the season. We will try. Obviously, we have to try and focus on the main category as well as much as anything, but we'll see what we can do. Harry Hickton's still on pole though, with Lewis Stannard in P2. We're looking at Andy Dorman, who is in 6th place at the moment, one of our top VRRC drivers. Lee Pearcey now down to 7th. This has changed a lot. I've got to say, Archie, this session, normally sessions are done and settled quite quickly. This one hasn't been.
No, 100%. I've just been looking at the times, and just the top 5, 6 just keep swapping and changing. I really don't know who's going to be the top 3 at the end of this qualifying session.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lottery at the moment, isn't it? Lewis Stannard P2, Alex Solly in P3, and I think some of our sim lads have had a little bit of a shock with the real world drivers. I was saying to you before we came to air today that when we did the Mini Challenge series, the official series back in the COVID days, which got me into esports commentary, the sim drivers were by and large quicker than the real world drivers, but there's been a definite equalisation for me in the series we've got at the moment. And you just got to look at the times. Harry Hickton, Stannard, Solly, Andy Carroll, the first sim driver. Then we've got James Black, Andy Dorman sim, Lee Pearcey sim. So there's a pretty much a very good mix between the two. So very evenly matched, and that's wonderful for me to see. So it's Hickton from Stannard at the moment.
Just seeing Henry go back up to P6. It just keeps chopping and changing, just different drivers, finding that extra little bit of time throughout their lap, and it's great to see.
It is good to see, and it means that everyone's still trying to get those lap times down.
Definitely.
Henry was 8th, I think, wasn't he, last week in qualifying? So quick look, so he was up there and quicker than that in the race, as he said.
Yeah.
50 seconds remaining on our qualifying session. So at the moment we'll be talking to Alex Solly in 3rd place, Lewis Stannard in 2nd, Harry Hickton on provisional pole, unless we get a change around with maybe Andy Carroll trying to get up into the places. James Black similarly. We might get someone doing a flyer from a little bit further down the grid, which might happen as well. Just having a quick look, see Cat Potter is in 19th at the moment, trying to hunt down Chris McKenzie's time. Cat doing some, I don't know whether Thomas Potter is watching from wherever he is. I think Something made me think he's in France, but I might be wrong about that. But I know he's gone away on some sort of school outing as it's very near the end of school term. And as we know, youngsters at school don't do anything for the last month. Anybody studying doesn't do anything. Well, it's usually the last couple of days. When I was at school, which was many years ago, the last day we didn't do anything. But nowadays,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
It's sort of trips, isn't it?
back in my secondary school days, we used to have the last week doing nothing, movie days. But yeah, I can guarantee they've been doing nothing.
Yeah, Thomas has even been farming his homework out over the weeks. That's one of our stories from World Endurance League, which was quite funny. So we're getting checkered flags on this session now. Harry Hickton looks like he's got it sorted out. He's taken the flag. Lewis Stannard hasn't done that yet. Oh, yes, he has, because he's in the pit, so his session will be over. So it's Hickton on pole, Stannard second. Alex Solly still there at the moment in third. We'll keep an eye on the screen, timing screen, as well as the action on track to see whether that alters. Andy Carroll in fourth place at the moment from James Black. I've actually stopped writing down the times before the checker comes out, because normally you write a time down and it disappears. Somebody beats it on the last tour, but I think we're pretty much there in qualifying as we watch Alex Solly. I think it's going to be our first chat with Alex in terms of our coverage. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, he's had a 5th, an 8th, a 4th and a 6th. He was just shy of the podium last week, but qualifying wise, as he goes into pit lane, normally he'd have a chat with Alan Hyde or someone like that, but sadly he's got to talk to me, so not good for Alex Solly, with Lewis Stannard second and Harry Hickton in third place. I think most of them have completed that, so we're going to take a quick break, a minute or so, to tell you a little bit about some of our partners, and we'll be back with our qualifying podium in just a moment. So welcome to our first podium of the evening, and we're going to start in third place, our first chat during the series with Alex Solly. Alex, well done on third place. Great to have the chance to talk to you. And we've got a 1, 2, 3 with real world races, so you guys are putting it over the Simlands at the moment.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's good to see some real races up there. Finally managed to get some good practice in for this race, so managed to get a good qualifying this time.
Is Oulton Park a circuit you enjoy?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's one of my favourites in real life, so there's no reason it can't be in the sim.
What sort of prep do you do for both?
Oh, I do a lot of sim prep anyway. Well, I try to on different various stuff before real weekend, but this is a bit less tame. I've been struggling to get some time off to be doing it, so hence why we've struggled a little bit up to this point. But yeah, hopefully this is a good one.
Yeah, fingers crossed. What do you think's changed this week? I mean, is it a case of getting used to the equipment and everything else and the environment? Does that make a difference as time goes on?
Yeah, the past two events, I've only had less than a day to practice, so I've only done probably 20-30 laps on each event.
Yeah.
So I've had quite a disadvantage in that compared to the top boys doing 100 odd. So yeah, I think it's just a bit more seat time. Managed to find some different things which makes the car a bit easier to drive. They're quite quirky on here, so yeah, a bit interesting.
I think your scores at the moment, I jotted down let me see, I've only got top half dozens or so as reference point for the commentary that I'm doing. But looking at your scores, really consistent, well inside the top 10 on all 4 races. Now, I think the point score for you is a little bit distorted at the moment because everybody drops 1 round on the points that we publish. So if we added them together, you're probably well inside the top 6, and I think that's probably going to continue. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, drop scores are quite they're hard work in real life as well. We suffer from that, so it's something I'm used to. Yeah, we've had some bad luck in the past couple of events, just getting taken out or being in the wrong place. So hopefully we can get some consistent stuff this time. But like you say, considering what we've got, we're consistent and we're not doing too bad in the championship.
No, that's really good. That's what you need to do. The other question I wanted to ask you is, what's it like being part of the Napa outfit?
Oh, I still pinch myself now. No, it's great. Everyone on the team's fantastic. You couldn't ask for a better platform for operating out of. So yeah, very happy with that. Hopefully we can do some real good quality stuff soon.
I'm guessing the fans kind of identify with you in the minis as they do because they follow the guys in the touring car championship as well.
Yeah, so we do get quite involved with the touring car boys, with the media and all that. The media team's quite substantial, but yeah, so it's quite nice to be part of that outfit. Very good for the brand. Gets my name out there, gets me a bit more public to stuff, and yeah, obviously doing stuff like this is it's great to be on the side and still supporting the name.
Yeah, it's good. Well done, and on getting third position in qualifying, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you a little bit later on with a race podium. But great to have our first chat with you finally in our series. Alex Solly, P3, well done. So next up we go to a driver we had 3 chats with last week, so 4 on the bounce for Lewis Stannard. Well done, Lewis. And how are you feeling this evening?
Yeah, it was all right. I mean, I'd never expected ballast to be this difficult to come over, but other than that, the actual qualifying itself, it wasn't bad. Unfortunately, my last 2 laps, I think 10th and a half up, and then I just got blocked, unfortunately. But I'm sure no one would do it on purpose, so I can't really complain. But I think P2 is still a very good place to start. I can fight from here. We're on the front row. I know Harry's going to be quick, and he always will be, but hopefully me and him can work together, pull a gap, and then try and fight for the win. But again, said it last week, you really just can't predict it.
No, you can't. We're looking forward to it. I just can't think where else as well we get somebody who's a star in junior racing against someone who's been in the seniors a while and is a little bit of a star in that as well. So it's a good mouth-watering prospect for us to see. Going back to your point about the ballast, do you get the ballast on straight away after last week? So is all the testing that you've done this week, has that been with the ballast, or was there a period of the start of testing where the car was the same as last week?
It's literally a new car, so I'm pretty sure it was like Tuesday afternoon, so like the day after it was straight on. So I've just been doing laps, and honestly I've never struggled so hard in all of my sim racing. It's been a proper challenge, but to be here on the front row, I think that just gives me that bit more motivation for next week.
Yeah, that's really good, isn't it? I mean, it's a great performance. Is ballast something? Do you have to have ballast in JSCC? I'm guessing probably not. I'm not aware of ballast going on in juniors at all.
Nah, we don't get ballast in Saxos, but I'm pretty sure. Do they have it in real life? I don't know if minis have it in real life or not, but it definitely adds a challenge.
It's good from the VRRC point of view because it would give newcomers a chance to maybe have a slightly better handling car and have a bit of a chance on a reverse grid race, things like that, and it kind of brings people into the race mix a little bit more, not necessarily in terms of the overall championship, but yeah, just I think helps encourage people, which is quite good. So can't remember whether I mean really nobody got close to you last week, so you've not actually had a chance to race with Harry Hickton yet, have you?
Yeah, I've raced with him a few times in real life at a kart track, but
okay.
Yeah, I think I know what he's going to do, but well, I hope I do anyway. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be tough.
I was thinking because of the age difference that maybe you hadn't done it in karts, so I guess there are some sort of fairly wide age bands in some of the kart categories.
Yeah, no, I mean, me and Harry, he was in JSCC a few years ago, so my mechanic used to work for the team that he raced for, so
okay.
I've seen him a few times in real life. We're good mates, and honestly, if I wasn't on pole, then he's the person that I'd want to be on pole instead. So hopefully we have a good race, clean race, just get the head down and try and get some points for the championship.
Nice one. Running out of time before the race starts. I'll say well done, Lewis Stannard. Great interview again. Thanks for that. Good luck for the race, and we'll catch you a little bit later on. Lewis Stannard in P2. And on to our winner, third different pole setter in 3 rounds. How competitive is that? Well done, Harry Hickton. How are you this evening?
You're right, Richard. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
That's good. You must be fairly happy with that because you. This is consistent speed as well, isn't it? Because you were quick in the test prior to qualifying starting as well.
Yeah, I think I said last week or the week before, I've always had a habit of being quick in testing and not putting that into qualifying. So yeah, well maybe this is the sort of thing I can translate from sim to real life if I learn to keep my head in qualifying. So yeah, I'm happy I did that. It's only like a tenth off what I did in the testing. So I'm actually happy with it.
Do you know, I'd never actually considered that a driver might equate sim qualifying or sim competition qualifying with race day, and I guess there is a parallel, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's just like the more like the mindset side of things. Like I said, like I've always just been, better in testing than I have in qualifying. Just messing it up. I either got the wrong setup, spend too long on that wrong setup, get on the right setup, mess up like that. Just stupid things like that. And it's just something I need to iron out for myself. So yeah, hopefully I can take a bit of that from this into my next time I'm out in real life.
And obviously the elephant in the room is the DQ last week with Henry Houth. He's not here to defend himself, but was there a dressing down?
Yeah, there was a little bit, but it's all behind us now. I put it on pole quite early in the session, and I saw he was second for a little bit, and I was like, oh wow, you can't ride this, can you? So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm happy that he went down the order a little bit, but maybe a bit relieved. I don't know. I think it's all behind us now, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
We've got quite a bit of time behind us in this one now. I've only got 45 seconds before the race starts. I'm going to let you get away. Well done, Harry Hickton on pole position.
Thank you.
Well done, Harry. Probably overdid some of the other interviews, but great to chat to you all, and thanks for the words, and real pros, all 3 of you once again. So great to have that, and have your thoughts as we head towards our first race. Harry Hickton on pole, Lewis Stan on second, Alex Solly in third. And turn 1 is always a little bit of a worrying moment, particularly when you've got some very closely matched drivers. This one's not the reverse grid, but with the quality we've got there and the mix of drivers, it could maybe be perceived as a little bit of a mixed grid. And we'll come to that. We've got the lighting sequence already to be illuminated towards the middle top of your picture. And we're very nearly ready to race for 30 minutes of race action. It's Harry Hickton that gets away. Lewis Stannard's trying to get the jump on him with the extra ballast, remember. Hickton's got ballast as well, 15 kg, so half of what the championship leader has as they go into Old Hall for the first time. It's Harry Hickton, already a little bit of contact further back. Timing screen lighting up with some side-by-side action. They will all get recorded and looked at in the judicials if needs be. Everybody behaving themselves well at the moment. There is Alex Solly in third place. It's Andy Carroll next up in fourth momentarily, but Henry Houth's come up, in fact, just sticking his nose in front into fourth. But Archie, a good start by everybody.
Very good, very clean, apart from a bit of contact at the back. But I see there Henry's managed to get his way into third, so he's keeping to his word with being better in the races than qualifying. But no, it's been a good start at the front. Yeah,
Henry, I'll tell you what, Harry Hickton's going to be looking in his mirrors and worrying what he said there about that scenario where the man he had the action with last week. They have had the clerk of the course talk to him, both Rich Hayden and Luke Corder. Of course, he's the real world mini clerk of the course that they've spoken to. And no doubt they will get some ribbing on ITV as well at some point when they find themselves together. Actually, I know if they do, that'll be wrong, won't it? Because Henry's in the sport, so Harry will be a little bit off the pace if that happens. But nonetheless, we can drag that out, I guess, at some point as Harry Hickton continues to lead from Lewis Stannard in P2. Alex Solly's still in fourth place. This is going to be quite interesting to see whether Henry can close up. Looks like good pace. Had a little bit of a moment there as he came out of Lodge Corner and going into Deer Leap, as Alex Solly looks to try and get that outside run. Very slightly uphill now, and then downhill in towards Old Hall Corner. Henry back on the inside, so good defence there. Game effort from Alex Solly, but difficult to get round the outside at that point.
Not very difficult. The corner tightens up on exit, so it is extremely difficult to go around the outside. You will most likely have to take a track limits warning if you do want to go around the outside of someone at turn 1. So it is a very risky move to do, but it can work.
I'm always mindful of this part of the circuit because Clio's, which Mini's replaced on the BTCC, oh, we've got to move up the inside there. Clio's, which the Mini's replaced, had a number of rollovers at that point. Thankfully, we haven't had those in the Minis, to my knowledge, at that point on the track, but there were quite a few of those over the years, so I'm always mindful of that when the cars are going through that. But now it's through the Hislops chicane and about to make their way up Clay Hill and towards Druids. This to look back from Andy Carroll in P4. He, if we were to look the other way, is chasing Henry Howarth in 3rd place, but Alex Solly in 5th at the moment with Lee Pearcey. A little bit of a gap back from Alex Solly to Lee Pearcey. Solly in the Napa livery right behind us, and you can see how close they get as we flick briefly to watch the outside shot of Andy Carroll's car. So there is Andy with Solly right behind him. It's still Hickton from Stannard out front at the moment. Henry Howarth in 3rd place. Lee Pearcey 6th, Andy Dorman 7th, Will Yapp's up into 8th from Mackenzie Taylor. Monroe Reynolds come up into 10th, so good debut for Monroe Reynolds. On the moment, he is into 10th, which is provisional pole for race 2. Good overview shot here as the battle continues. Will Yapp and Mackenzie Taylor. Mackenzie had a good first round as well, and one of the things that strikes me is the number of great drivers that we do have from both the sim world and the real world. And let's see what Mackenzie Taylor can do. He's teeing up the inside for this part of the curve as they go along Lakeside, and then that becomes the outside as they go through the island hairpin. And Mackenzie Taylor taking a wider line, maybe trying to go for a little bit more momentum up the straight and towards Hilltop, and then down towards the chicane as Archie described on his lap. Different lines, as you say. A little bit of a defence there from Will Yapp, who's holding on to 8. While these are squabbling, they're not really gaining on Andy Dorman. So Andy will be in a comfortable 7th place as we just look up the hill. He's actually out of sight as they go up the hill, Archie.
That was a good defence there from Will. It was put his car in the right place and made sure that that the car behind couldn't get a run on him. So yeah, good defence from him.
Back with Alex Solly, 5th position, looking at Andy Carroll. As we said, Andy 3rd in the championship. Lee Pearcey is 4th in the championship. He's a couple of positions behind Andy at the moment. And yeah, drop scores, that bane of everybody on the real world. JCW this year doesn't have drop scores. We do on VRRC. It's a different kind of commitment midweek. And a little bit of a moment there for Alex Solly off on the grass. That will scrub off a little bit of speed, and Lee Pearcey will see that. Fancy his chances of maybe getting past, but he's got Andy Dorman closing up as well. Henry Howarth still in 3rd place and beginning to close in on Lewis. That ballast is really hurting Lewis, isn't it, at the moment?
The same as you. I think Henry will be looking to try and make a move on him in the next lap or so, try and get past him, because it looks like Harry is now starting to really pull a gap now out in front. Nearly 2.5 seconds the gap's coming up to now, so I think Henry needs to try and find a way past Lewis as soon as possible so then he can start hunting down Harry.
Where's he going to pass? Where do you reckon?
The hairpin's the go-to one. You can always try and throw an opportunist move down into the chicane, but Oulton's such a tight circuit. It's so difficult for overtaking people, and because it's so fast and flowing as well, it's more momentum based, so you've got to make sure you really get a good run out of the corners to set yourself up for a overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, you got to think about it early on. I always go back to some laps that we saw in my day, saw Alain Prost do in Formula One, where he maybe sort of thought out a move which starts 5-6 corners before he actually does it. Very much like that, and it's one of the reasons I do like this track so much. Again, great overhead shot. So go across the grid lines, and you can see Henry now closing in. Lewis is going to be in defence mode and leaves the door open and goes through, but he's going to get the cut back. He goes through back on the inside. And Lewis knew what he was doing there, didn't he?
Henry outbroke himself there a bit and locked up the inside tyre and sent himself into a slide. So it was a pretty easy move back for Lewis, and it almost opened the door for Andy Carroll behind as well to make a move on Henry.
Well, it changes what's going on, doesn't it, as well? Or Henry's not actually bothered about Andy Carroll by the look of it. I was going to say he's going to have his mirrors full, but he's not bothered. How easy is it to switch off looking in the mirrors in that situation, Archie?
Oh, yeah, you can get, so distracted in the mirrors, and out of nowhere you can make a mistake. You may not realise the corner's coming up so soon. And Lewis has a slide, and Henry and Andy are through. Don't know if there was a bit of contact, but Henry's now through, and Andy also got through. So Lewis losing a couple of positions, but the gap's now nearly up to 5 seconds.
Yeah, you called that absolutely spot on. There was a flash on the timing screen saying there was a wee bit of contact between the cars, so well spotted, mate. They're trying to sort each other out, but yeah, Harry Higton is away and down the road at the moment. Best lap 1:32.4. Having a quick look at the other times, I think he's the fastest driver on circuit at the moment. There aren't any other 1:32s there, so the race leader making the most of the scenario that he's got clear track in front of him. As Alex Solly comes under pressure from Lee Pearcey, I thought they were going to clash as well, but Lee just scrapes his way through on the inside. Go on, mate.
There was a little tap on the straight there of the rear end of Pearcey, but managed to make the move work and get past Alex.
Andy Dorman in behind as well, trying to close up, but it's Harry Higton from Henry Howarth, and Henry up ahead of Andy Carroll. But there you can see virtually the length of this straight away is Harry Higton in the lead. 21 minutes to go, and they'll be wondering whether they've got time. Henry is again doing better, as you said, as Lewis Stannard goes for the throw down the inside of Andy Carroll. Great send down there to take that position. That was a move.
It's one of the best overtaking opportunities, and Lewis has made the very most of it, and now he can try and settle down in this race, try and follow Henry and stick with him as they try and catch Harry out in front.
We were watching the practice times, weren't we, before we came into the event this evening, and Lewis has done his homework here. He's done quite a few laps, and you know, you've got to do that, I guess, to be at the sharp end of any competition.
Yes.
But the one thing you can't do in practice, unless you've got a driving partner to do it with, is practice overtakes like that. So I don't know whether he's been practicing that, but that was pretty accomplished to me.
I think Lewis has just got past Henry as well. I don't know where that happened. So he's really
yeah, he's having good. Yeah, he has. He's had a good run. Yep. So back into P2. Harry Higton will be pleased about that. I think maybe not to see Henry Howarth directly in his mirrors, but he'll be happy with the lead that he's got at the minute. So yeah, Lewis Stannard back up into P2. Henry Howarth third. Andy Carroll next up from Lee Pearcey and Alex Solly.
Great save from Alex there. Going into turn. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe there was a bit of contact, but he basically backwards entered it into the first corner.
Yeah, recovered well. Mackenzie Taylor gets 8th place at the moment. Monroe Reynard up into 9th. Will Yap provisionally on pole now. Have to keep our eyes on the top. Trying to work out who's dropped out of the top 10. Some good performances going on right the way down. We look at Cat Potter's in 14th, so Thomas will be happy for the points there. Jack McCall is again improving round by round. He's up into 13th place. Callum Einstone is in 12th from Chris Mackenzie. Chris Mackenzie's having a good run here. If Chris gets another place, we could see him on the reverse grid pole. So good stuff from Chris Mackenzie in the Bitcoin car as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've raced against Chris this season. I know how quick he can be. So definitely watch out for him trying to get that 10th place.
Has he got you investing in Bitcoin yet?
He's tried to. He's had a couple of chats with me, but it's not anything that I've ever looked at him before. So it could be something. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, he's tried to.
The thing about Chris is he's a race winner, isn't he? In this, he's won a sport race. He's won City Car Cup races as well. So you know, whatever he's in, we know he's going to do well. As we watch Henry Howarth trying to get back on terms with Lewis Stannard, and again, two good racers you'd want to see racing for real against each other. I'd love to see the chance for someone like Andy Carroll to get out on track as well. Whether that will happen as well. Some of our drivers do race in various bits and bobs. We've got some 750 Motor Club BMW drivers in our sim category as well. Henry getting a little bit crossed up there. He's really throwing everything at this, isn't he, Henry?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a good start. He's made a few positions up from where he started, and I'm sure he'll want to keep going forward to get those points back after the disqualification from the last round.
I'm glad he's back. A lot of drivers would have thrown the towel in and sulked off, but yeah, I'm pleased that those lads haven't done that. Full credit to them for coming back and having another go. Best laps at the moment still with Harry Higton, 132.4, but lots of the other drivers are joining in the 132s as well, which is impressive as they're all battling with each other. So yeah, some good times going on. Here we go into the Hislop chicane again. And looking at Alex Solly about to have a go here at Andy Dorman. Andy, I think there was a track limits the wrong side there on that apex on the inside of the right-hander.
You don't want to be going out to the outside of that grass there. It pulls you out, and it's very hard to recover after that.
Solly looking to try and make the move here. Let's see whether Alex can get a place back. Alex is going to be a little bit frustrated to drop back from third on the grid, but doing a good race at the moment. Andy Dorman, multi-race winner with us in VRRC in various formulae. Solly now looks up the inside, and I think he's going to be able to squeeze his way through. They come through Deer Leap under the footbridge here, and down across the line they would go again. Lee Piercy up ahead of them, still side by side. Solly on the inside as they go into Old Hall, manages to complete the move. So Andy Dorman might have a look, see if he can cut back and have another go in the Turbo Smart car. He's going to sit and watch for a little bit now. So coming in here, very slight kink round to the right for Denton's, and then into Cascades and along Lakeside again. I've got to say, driving standards that we've seen so far pretty good as we approach the halfway stage of this first race, but Solly just goes a little bit too deep into the hairpin and loses the place. But then Andy Dorman, now did they make a little bit of that, or was Andy just a little bit too eager?
I think Andy was a little bit too eager back on throttle there. He hit the side door of Alex and sent him into a spin. Very difficult to recover after that.
A bit of drama there then. So Alex Solly back up into 6th, Mackenzie Taylor 7th now. Monroe Renard is in 8th from Will Yap, and Chris Mackenzie is now, at the expense of Andy Dorman, up into the top 10. So we might see him in a reverse grid pole position. It's going to be fascinating to see what he can do from there. As we look back from Henry Howarth, Andy Carroll has been very patient so far, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. I think it will just be about choosing the right time, try and put Henry under a bit of pressure, try and force him into mistake. As all three of these drivers here are all so quick, it's going to be very difficult to overtake on raw pace. So I think it's just going to be a game of putting the pressure on Henry and seeing whether he crumbles under the pressure.
Henry in P3 at the moment. Andy Carroll next up. Lee Piercy's still a little bit shy of this group. We'll watch and maybe see Lee come towards the back of shot as they come down. The thing about Oulton Park is, if you're watching racing, every part of the circuit is great to watch at. I can honestly say there aren't too many tracks like that in the UK. Oulton is one that I'd quite happily wander around if they had endurance racing here. And I've not been to a GT event for a good while, but a track that you could literally walk around all day and just enjoy the view from any part. And the bonus, as I said earlier on, that you can watch from the infield as well as outside the track and move around while the racing is on, which is absolutely mega. There goes Harry Hickton out of shot. So out of Hislops in the lead. The gap 5.3 seconds. I'm going to have a quick shout out for Harry Hickton. Done the job really, hasn't he? He earned pole position. That's what qualifying's all about. And then he made that count, getting away and building a lead and just keeping away from everybody and keeping out of any trouble that they might give him.
Yeah, I mean, capitalised on the battle in behind and kept it clean, put in some very quick laps, and has been able to pull a very, very significant gap. So I'm sure now all he's doing is just, you know, making sure he doesn't get any track limits penalties and just making sure he keeps it clean out there.
Yeah, be keen to do that. He'll also start to think perhaps about what he's going to do in the reverse grid race. So he's going to be P10 in the reverse grid race. Now we've got Callum Einstone up into 11th, so we've got the possibility of another driver who might get a chance to start on the front row of the grid for race 2. Andy Dorman's just behind him. Andy had a little bit of contact with Jack McCall, who's dropped down to the back of the field, which is a shame. Jack having a decent start to the day with some good early qualifying laps, but that contact has put him down behind Kenny Press and Alex Walker. Kenny 18th, Alex Walker 17th, Paul Laramie ahead of them. Kevin Yap 15th. The pole position provisionally at the moment still for race 2 with Chris Mackenzie with Will Yap. That'll be the front row. Monroe Renard is next up. I haven't had a look at Monroe yet, so I don't know whether Stephen will be able to pick Monroe out. He's in 8th place at the moment in the 69 car, just so we can get a little bit of a shot at him at some point. There he is. So debut driver, Monroe Renard, missed the first couple of rounds due to a holiday, and he is up ahead of Will Yap. So this is a race going on. Both of these guys at the moment in the front part of the reverse grid. However they finish, not really a problem if they get an overtake and move up another place, because they'll still be in the front second race, won't they?
Well, I'm sure they won't really want to take too many risks at this point. They've got a sizable gap to them in front and a pretty sizable gap behind as well. So I'm sure they'll just want to try and keep it as clean as they can, take the result that they have now into the reverse grid race.
Andy Dorman recovering. He's in 12th, so he was at the back of that little trio. We've gone back to Lee Piercy, who we haven't seen too much of either. So a nice move there from our director Steve to pick up on Lee, one of our top VRRC drivers, and he's in 5th place at the moment. I think Lee's doing the touring class tomorrow as well, so his family have lost him now two days a week, or 2 evenings a week, which is a shame. Back with Monroe, with Will Yap coming up to have a go at him and really jostling for good championship points, but also where are they going to start in race 2? Andy Dorman's down in 11th place at the moment, so if Andy can close on Chris McKenzie, or if someone falls out of the top 10, he could find himself on the front row of the reverse grid. And Andy Dorman could be a difficult driver to catch. Well, he will be a difficult driver to catch if he's off the front for race 2.
I agree. I think he's only 3 tenths behind Chris, so a move could be happening any time now.
Oh!
Ooh. Yeah, a little just misjudged his braking zone there. Will did, but like I was saying, I think Andy, he just needs to pick off Chris as quick as he can, and then it depends whether he wants to try and gain back the championship points to Will and Monroe, or whether he wants to sit tight in 10th and take the pole position for the reverse grid.
I must admit, I'd forgotten about championship points. He's second in the championship at the moment, behind Lewis Stannard. So just they really got one round each that they can compare at the minute. So this is probably going to drop Andy down a little bit in the standings, but we'll see whether he can. Yeah, he's actually now in the top 10, so he's managed to get past Chris McKenzie, and Chris will be a little bit disappointed about that. He's still in with a shout of maybe getting into the top 10 and getting a pole, which personally I'd like to see Chris racing off the front here. Equally, it's going to be interesting to see whether Andy Dorman can hang on to that and what he can do off the front in the next one as they go past Lodge Corner. That lodge, by the way, that's on Lodge Corner, you can actually rent that. I don't know if you've seen the adverts at the track, but one of my friends came down from Scotland and booked it for a week, and they said it's a really nice sort of Airbnb if you want to stay there and soak up a little bit of race circuit vibe while you're off.
Yeah, no, it looks nice. We actually looked at that when we were racing. We looked at it, but no, it does look nice. I'd like to stay in it one day. Actually, it would be quite fun. It looks nice.
Probably a bit pricey if you're racing as well, isn't it? You might as well, because if you're racing, you're at the track all the time.
Yeah.
And you kind of just need
the travel lodges.
Yeah, you just need something to eat and sleep, don't you? Really.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, I might give the Oulton thing a go one day. Good fun. So there is Andy Dorman up into 10th place. A little bit of a gap behind Will Yap ahead of him. Will Yap trying to close down on Monroe Renard. So I'm going to have some different names at the front at the moment in race 2. Still got 10 minutes to go on this one. Harry Hickton has kept the gap to 5 seconds, 5.3, as we glance at the timing tower. And this is on board with Will Yap trying to close down on Monroe Renard. Wherever you look, there's loads of work going on, and one of the things about this is why I always implore people to come to the track, because if you watch a live stream or a broadcast, the one thing you don't pick up from that, and you can't pick up from it because you can only really follow one car at a time, is just how hard everybody in the field works.
I mean, I think a good example is the JCW championship. All across the grid there'll be a battle, whether it's at the front in the JCWs, in the mid pack or towards the back, and as well in the sports, there's always a battle going on. It's good racing.
It is good racing, great fun to watch and to follow over the course of the championship. That's the thing I like about it. And now we've got Paul Laramie making, I'm guessing, a recovery move, nips down and passes. Well, it says T Potter, but it's Catherine Potter there. So C-Pot passed by Paul Laramie. Paul up into 14th place. Down behind them is Alex Walker. He's had a few good runs in this one. Had some decent runs towards the end of our World Endurance League in GT3. Massive switch for him to come into the front-wheel drive world of minis. James Black, who qualified well, is further back than we would hope to see him as well. James in 13th, actually chasing Chris McKenzie. So Chris has been passed by Callum Einstone now. The green and black fronted car in 11th place. Andy Dorman in 10th, up ahead of them. So these guys, should there be a problem for the front runners, could find themselves on reverse pole. But Callum Einstein having a good run. Have a quick look at Callum's previous result. Callum on at the moment. This will be the curse of the commentator, Archie, having his best run at the moment. He finishes in 11th place. It will be his best finish of the series so far.
Yeah, no, that's good. And as you say, that he has a little slide through Druids, so he just needs to keep it keep it calm and just make sure that he gets his head together and keeps it clean from here. But no, it's running in 11th. You never know what can happen. There could be another mishap in front, and he could be on reverse grid pole.
Could find himself there, and it's not the full grid. I think we've had some competitions with VRRC where we totally reverse qualifying. We decided not to do that. We're trying to keep things true to the JCW Championship, and I know you guys don't have the top 10, but it's enough in this. It works pretty well that we've had so far. Back with Henry Howarth though, trying to chase down Lewis. Lewis is doing, as I said, a great job with the ballast, 30 kg of ballast. Andy Dorman's got 27 as well, and you heard Lewis describing after the qualifying interview just how much it changed the car for him. Henry Howarth in third, going for another podium interview, and he had his interview last week. Obviously the disqualification, you can't take the interview away from it. It's just like real life. You can get your interview and then have a judicial afterwards. So we will at the moment have another chat with Henry Howarth. Andy Carroll back in fourth, Lee Pearcey still in fifth place, and James Black in the Clive Empson car, which is a livery we've seen for many years on the side of his cars, or a few seasons anyway. Busy trying to get up and past Chris McKenzie, who is in 12th. Actually, when I look at that, Chris McKenzie, he'd be capable off the front. James Black, we know, would be. Laramie would be. Thomas Potter, we've seen Catherine Potter do some really great drives off the front in the Endurance League. Alex Walker's good off the front as well. All of these drivers capable of, if they get into the top 10, of doing a grand job, as James Black continues to chase Chris McKenzie. He's getting a little bit of momentum now as he come out of Lodge, goes side by side, gets his nose in front as they go across the line. Is he going to complete the move by the time they get to Oulton? Looks like he's very nearly there. He has. McKenzie read that well too.
Very good. James got a really good save from James there. He had a little tap in the back from Chris, but out of Lodge, James got a really good run and managed to get the run up the hill and managed to get the momentum past Chris. So nice move.
Yeah, and as you said, a really good recovery there from that inadvertent contact, which again will get looked at. Nothing as strenuous as we had last week so far, fingers crossed. Or touch wood, I should probably say, with 5 minutes 32 to go. Harry Hickton, what's the gap now? 5.5. He's kept that gap very stable, with Lewis Stannard trying to close down on him. Lewis's best lap time, a 1:32.527, and Harry Hickton's a 1:32.4, both having completed 15 laps. So we are on board with Andy Dorman looking at Will Yap. So Andy knows at the moment, or maybe he doesn't know, he's got provisional pole, certainly front row, for race 2 as they come down to, or go uphill I should say, up Clay Hill and out of Druids under the Paul Warwick Bridge, and now flicks to the outside. Is he going to get, that's a long way around the outside there. He might be looking for a cutback to get through on the inside. Nothing quite doing for Andy. He wants to make up more places, does Andy Dorman, and now flicks off to the inside. So let's see what he can do. Very slightly uphill again across the line, tees up the inside run as they go down into Lodge Corner, still side by side. Are they mindful of each other? Andy goes over the curbs, not so much exit curb for him. Will Yap read that well, hangs on to 9th place.
Nice little battle there. I think Andy doesn't need to take any unnecessary risks. He's in a very good position as it is. I think if an overtake does arise, he does need to be smart with where he makes it and needs to try and suss out what Will's going to do as well.
Yeah, he's not in a position to do it, I don't think, as they come down into the hairpin. Meanwhile, we switch a little bit further up. Alex Solly busy chasing Lee Pearcey. So Solly making a really good recovery. Good, slow, steady recovery from Alex Solly and closing in on Lee Pearcey. So the potential to get up into 5th position here before the end of the race. But time is running out. 3 minutes 49 to go as Alex tries to hunt down a champion driver from VRRC. Hickton, Stannard and Howard still our top 3 a little bit further up. We'll see whether Alex can get another step up. In not a bad position here, Alex Solly. P6 at the moment means he'll be relatively close to the front, and with a good vision and a good opportunity in race 2, if he stays here, to get up near the front earlier on, is as long as the other drivers don't get too involved with each other, as Will Yap now closes on battles it out with Andy Dorman. So Andy closing up still. This battle's still going on. Let's see what Andy can do. Mona Renard ahead of them, and here comes Andy Dorman again, but Will Yap still out front. Andy all over the grass there. I don't know whether sim racing, whether the grass does actually knock out any momentum when you do that. But I guess if you've got the momentum anyway going across the grass, that carries on.
I'm not sure what it's like. I've never driven these cars, but it may be something that we don't know, and it may be able to gain in a little bit of time.
The Clarkson, of course, will be a little bit worried about unfair advantages if that's the case. He's not doing it repeatedly, but now looks on the inside run as they go up the hill. As he got quite loses around about half a car's length as they go up to Hilltop, and then slots back in behind Will Yap's car, does Andy Dorman. But these two won't be able to close in on Monroe Renard at the moment as they come out of his lops again. The Knickerbrook chicane, and then up the hill again over the curbs. That will unsettle Andy Dorman a little bit, so maybe with 2 minutes 1 on the clock, it will be that he'll have to settle for 10th base. Closing up again though, he just seems to get closer and then can't quite find the way to get through. I think we're on the penultimate lap of this one now, as Andy Dorman, having said he can't find a way, now finds a gap, but has he got the momentum to look up on the side as they go up into Lodge Corner? Yes, he does, so he manages to go through and takes it. So Andy Dorman up into 9th. That'll give him the outside of the front row for race 2 if things stay the way they are. Will Yap though has battled hard and will probably have another go to try and get back.
Yeah, definitely. I think now Andy just needs to focus on trying to drive away now a bit from Will and try and create a bit of a gap to him behind, so then he doesn't have to worry about a move being sent on him at all, and he can chill and just take it home.
Yeah, I'll be looking to do that. Just a reminder, he's got 27 kg. Andy Carroll, third in the championship, has 24. Lee Pearcey running well too. So all the drivers with ballast actually running very strongly in this. So they've all done their homework and practiced well. As we watch Alex Solly try to close in on Lee Pearcey, one of the ballasted drivers we mentioned, under the footbridge as they go up Clay Hill towards the Double Apex Druids corner. And Harry Hickton, well, we've got 40 seconds remaining on the clock now, so Harry will be going on to his last lap, the race leader. He's got the gap out to 6.6 now, Harry Hickton, so over the last few laps has managed to pull out another second over the cars that we were looking at there. Henry Howarth in 3rd and Lewis Stannard just ahead of him in P2. Lewis, impressively, he's going to get another podium here if he stays on for the rest of this lap, which there's no reason to suspect that he'll go off at all as the tyres go off. They're all using the, a quick look down, medium tyre. Didn't even think about tyres before this point, but all good for Lewis's championship as he grabs another podium. And Harry Hickton, yeah, driven this one well, out of the island hairpin, and all looking pretty good. And I think he'll be happy with what he's done in this one.
Yeah, he made the most of the first few laps where the battling was happening. Managed to put in some very good laps, create a gap, and ever since then he's just kept on extending. So yeah, to stay with the ballast he's got, he's done a very good job.
He has indeed. He'll maybe have a little bit more next week as we go to Croft, and we'll see how that will hurt him. It's all sort of Croft mad at the moment. Croft for me last weekend, Croft virtually next week, and then in a couple of weeks' time with the BTCC. It's Harry Hickton. Runs a little bit wide there, but he can afford to do that. He's earned the right to do that, really, with the drive that he's put in thus far. We'll go into Lodge Corner for the last time. Drift it out a little bit wide, goes onto the grass creek on the outside, up through Deer Leap, and we'll get a virtual checkered flag to win the 5th race of the campaign. Congratulations to Harry Hickton, and also to Lewis Stannard, who'll be 2nd on the podium, and Henry Howarth, who keeps him honest as well, in 3rd place. Good clean race from those guys. Andy Carroll takes 4th from Lee Pearcey. Alex Solly will complete our top 6. I don't know why I'm taking a break after 6th place there. It's a habit that we do on broadcast for edits. I guess it's a handy point if anyone does edit this. 7th is Mackenzie Taylor. Monroe Renard, good debut. 8th position for him from Andy Dorman. Will Yap will start on pole with race 2. James Black is next from Callum Einstone and Chris McKenzie. Paul Laramie, 14th. From Alex Walker. Some of these guys still making their way across the track. Kevin Yap's completed as well. Thomas Potter, aka Cat Potter, today is in 16th from Jack McCall. Actually recovered well. Kenny Press, I think, retired. He's a good few laps down. So that is how they finished, and we'll have our podium interviews in just a minute. So, our first race podium of the evening, and we're going to start with third place and say well done to Henry Howarth. Henry, nice to catch up with you. 18 years and 1 week old now. How was your birthday, first of all?
It was really good, thanks. Yeah, I had a really good time with some close mates of mine. Had family around as well, so yeah, it was really good, thanks.
That's good. Obviously, you already asked Harry Hickson this one, didn't you? If you heard it, but there was a little bit of extracurricular fun last week, wasn't there?
Yeah, just a little bit.
And I was saying I'm really pleased that you and Harry, have come back, because a lot of drivers, if they were to get a dressing down, and particularly something like this, which you could easily have walked away from, but you guys haven't. You've come back and you're getting on with it, which is great. So all credit to both of you for doing that.
Yeah, well, this series is great. It's great fun, so I didn't want to miss out on it.
Tell us about your qualifying experience, and there was some good keen racing there, which maybe allowed Harry Hickson to get away a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's the same in real life. I've always struggled a bit with getting that perfect lap in, just nailing every corner one after another. I'm much better. I find I'm better with consistency. That's usually my strong suit, and racecraft. So usually I thrive much more in the races. And when we raced here a few weeks ago in real life in the mini JTW Sports, I showed just that I struggled a bit in quali, but then in the races I made up all the places that I needed to. So in quali is definitely something I need to work on, and I'm always trying to improve on that. But yeah, we made up the places in the race and had some really good battles as well.
What do you think the problem might be with quali? Do you think it's mindset, or, I mean, it can't be car, can it, as well? But do you just get yourself into a bit of a state over it, or you just, racing's more difficult because it's racing. You've got to, you're concentrating the whole time and battling with other people. So, what do you know what it? I guess if you knew what it is, you'd sort it. So probably a silly question, but have you any ideas?
Well, for me, I'd probably say is that I don't use new tyres very often. Like all of the test days I do are on really old used tyres that we've raced on for a few weekends. So I don't have much experience when it comes to those new tyre runs, which some of the more experienced people on the grid do. And that's where I struggle a lot, is just getting the most out of those tyres. But that's where I make it up in the races, that I know how to race on old tyres. So when the tyres go off, I still can keep that pace up, which is where I tend to strive. But for me, that's probably the key point to work on, is just extracting the most out of fresh tyres.
And obviously the JCW Sport category, you're heading the points as we went into our summer break. So, good place to be in at the midpoint of the season. That's a strong championship, but equally Jam Sport's very strong, isn't it? We've got yourself, we've got Archie, you've got Nicky, 3 very good drivers, and you've all taken sport wins this year.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very strong team, very strong driver lineup, and I'm great to have teammates like Archie and Nicky. They're absolutely amazing on circuit, and we work well together. And Jam Sport's got a lot of experience with the cars as well, so they know how to extract what they need out of those cars and help work with us drivers to get the most out of those cars as well. So yeah, as I said, leading the championship as it stands, struggling a bit financially, so testing hasn't been as much as I wanted to do, but we keep pushing on, and I've got a strong lead in the championship, so just need to keep bagging some good points.
And in terms of, obviously, Archie you raced against in the VRRC Fiestas, but Nicky coming in is a different kettle of fish, isn't it? So you've got one teammate that you're very used to racing. I guess you're probably used to racing Nicky now as well, but does throw a sort of little bit of a curveball into the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, racing with Archie in the Fiestas, we had a great battle for the championship in 24. So I've sort of we both learned how to race each other cleanly but hardly, whereas Nicky's got a much more different way of driving than what I was expecting, as he's got much more of a karting and single-seater background. So it's definitely taken some adjusting to learn how he drives and how he prepares overtakes, but no, it's been great fun.
Well, that's good. Well done on P3. What are your thoughts going into the reverse grid? You're, a little way back, but not as far as the other 2 guys that we're going to hear from in a moment.
Yeah, obviously with Harry behind me, it's going to be hard to keep Harry behind me because he's been rapid in that race. I did show towards the end of the race I was sort of matching time, so I definitely expect us 2 to be making our way through the field, but it'll be mainly just sort of surviving that lap 1 and not checking up with everybody going into the first few corners and just picking off those overtakes.
Okay, we wish you well for that. I'm going to let you get away and prepare for it because we've only got 5.5 minutes to go, and we've still got to talk to our second place and winning driver. So great to catch up with you again. Well done, Henry Howarth. So let's move on to P2 and Lewis Stannard, second chat of the evening with Lewis. Great job, Lewis. You know, particularly with the ballast. You know, both yourself and like Andy Dorman, Andy Carroll both got ballast. You've got the most, and a great race. You lost a position, maybe lost two, and got them back. Some really good moves. Talk us through the one that you did into the Island hairpin.
Yeah, to be honest, I was very lucky to get away with getting on the podium. But yeah, going into the hairpin, honestly, didn't even mean to do it. I literally outbroke myself. I had to go for the gap, and I somehow got it stopped in time. But yeah, definitely wasn't intentional, to be honest. But it worked somehow, so we'll move on from that. But honestly, that is the hardest race I've probably ever had on a sim. You know, fighting at the start definitely didn't help. We had a bit of a tangle with me and Henry, but he did give it back, so that's fair play with him. But honestly, it was so difficult just to keep it on the track sometimes. It's mental, the difference from last week.
I love the fact that you hold your hand up and say that, you know, it wasn't intentional, but I mean, it looked absolutely superb, you know, so if you clip that up and put it on your socials, nobody will know. But one of the thoughts that occurred to myself and Archie Johnson, who's, I'm pleased to say, is co-commentating with me today, was obviously you can do laps, you can do lots of laps to practice on the track, but do you get the opportunity to practice the racing, the passing element as well during the week?
Not really. I mean, it's definitely probably something that I should reach out to someone about next week, because especially at a track like this, I'm not really sure where we are next, but most of the tracks on the calendar is normally a very hard track to race on, so it's probably worth me messaging someone like Harry or Henry, someone like that, to have a fight with. But it's hard to explain, really. Like, every race it's going to be different with the people around you, so it's a hard one, but it's
you can't practice the dicing with everybody, can you? You can only do it with selected people.
Yeah, exactly.
And I might have opened up a can of worms here, because I know one of our current crop of F1 drivers, you probably know who I'm talking about, but when they were in Ginetta Junior, you know, Dad was hiring circuits and other drivers so that he could practice the circuits and also practice overtaking and dicing. Now, in the real world, that's really expensive, but it's not exactly easy either in the sim world, that scenario, because you've got to, A, find your time and time with other people and work with each other, and you're kind of giving away some secrets to some extent, but it might take away some of the fun. But cracking stuff. Obviously, a lot of overtaking to do now. We had the same as last week for you. Obviously, you won race one last week. And Oulton Park, where were we last week? Snetterton. Oulton Park a little bit narrower, so maybe a little bit more circumspect off the start.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, you know, the same as last week. It's just going to be absolutely chaotic, you know, especially with turn 3, the hairpin. You know, you've got a long straight, you've got 10 cars fighting for positions, especially, you know, the people that were further back in that last race trying to push for that podium and push for those good results. So it's definitely going to be a survival for the first few laps, and then, you know, it's a 30-minute race, so we've got the time to pick everyone off. But, you know, we've got Harry just behind us, and I'm sure he's just going to be going for moves, so definitely going to be a hard one. But I said the same thing last week and it went to plan, so you never know. We'll go for it.
Lewis, great. Thanks for chatting to us again. It's great to chat to you. We've only got just over a minute left to go, so again, I've spoken to everyone far too long, which is not good. But great to hear from you. Good luck for race 2, and well done on the podium. Let's go very quickly to Harry Hickton, pole and win. I think fastest lap as well. Decent start to the evening.
Yeah, really good. Really happy with that. I didn't actually do any. I only did like 20 minutes yesterday and got on about 45 minutes before today. I've only did a bit of practice on the soft tyre. So again, similar to Donington in the first round, I was just learning the medium tyre then, and I got my quickest lap 2 laps from the end. So I think I've saved my tyres quite well as a whole, and I learned a lot during it. I got that from the beginning to have that bit of free space. So yeah, happy with it. Hopefully we can have a different race now.
Fingers crossed for you. And carrying a fair bit of ballast, you've got, you know, only got half of what Lewis Stannard's got, but 15 kg is a lot extra weight to deal with.
Yeah, it's weight. It's better than nothing, but all right. I think I better go, Richard.
Yeah, sorry not to give you too long there, Harry. We'll try and catch up with you a bit later. Harry Hickton, well done on the win. And apologies, I should keep my eyes on the timing a little bit better on the interview, so apologies for everyone there. As we head towards race 2, and they're already underway, so Steve keeping us to very strict timing, and I can't say I blame him. Pole position was Will Yap from Andy Dorman, Monroe and Mackenzie Taylor was the way that they started. It's Will Yap that's got away well from Andy Dorman, Monroe Renaud in 3rd, Mackenzie Taylor in 4th in the light blue car, then Alex Solly in the Napa car. And here's your contact on lap 1. Lee Piercy is around and down to 13th. He'll be disappointed with that one. And that's a fairly typical Oulton Park experience, particularly when you get into reverse grid racing, unfortunately. And again, I think it's going to be a busy stewarding session for Luke Cordell as Henry Howarth gets up another place. Henry's already up into 4th place, Archie.
I think Henry and Andy Dorman were both involved in that contact, so I don't know who instigated it, but no, what a start from Henry again though, really getting himself up there and putting himself up for a good chance of the win already.
Yeah, who'd want to be a Clark?
Oh, God, I mean, like you said, we're only just started the race and there's a bit of work for the Clarks to be doing, but no, I'm not sure what happened there really. I think I saw them 3 wide going into Cascades, and that's never going to work out.
It's not, is it, as we look down? So Henry in 4th place at the moment. Will Yap made a great start. Monroe Renaud P2. Mackenzie Taylor is 3rd from Henry Howarth. Alex Solly, James Black, Andy Dorman, Callum Einstein next up in 8th. So Callum's had a decent start as well. Paul Laramie 9th. Jack Call in 10th. So again, some little bits of rubbing, shall we say, down the field as Will Yap leads one again. That's a good opening lap for Will. This is what the reverse grids are all about, giving someone a chance to have a go at the front of the field as Henry Howarth tries to close down on Mackenzie Taylor. At the moment, Alex Solly down behind him, and then James Black. They're our top 6. I'll have a quick look down, and I think obviously Harry Hickton's away down, so he was involved in that skirmish at the start as well. Probably Andy Carroll, as going right the way down on the inside was Mackenzie Taylor, who ended up going into Will Yap. So Will Yap gets tagged. It's Mackenzie Taylor that, as a result of that, comes through with Henry Howarth in P2.
Misjudged his braking zone again, and unfortunate contact really. I mean, it's more work for the stewards to do, but I'm sure Henry's rubbing his hands together. Everything's just passing for him at the minute.
You know, sometimes it works out that way, doesn't it? As Alex Solly disappears down the order, which is a shame. You never ever know what you're going to get in mini racing, or indeed reverse grid mini racing, particularly on the sims. So it's Mackenzie Taylor out front, Henry Howarth P2. James Black is 3rd and putting Henry Howarth under pressure. The Clive Empson car looking good as he comes under the Paul Warwick Bridge. And I thought was going to have a look up the inside there for 2nd place, but it's Henry Howarth now on the offensive instead. And looking for the race lead. Henry getting maybe a little bit defensive there. Monroe Renaud in 4th place for Will Yap, who's actually recovered well in 5th position, Will Yap. Andy Dorman 6th, might do well to pick up points here. Paul Laramie 7th, Kevin Yap in 8th. Cat Potter in 9th, having a good go as well. So Cat Potter's read the incidents well, maybe a little bit of opening doors as well, but you've still got to read it to get up there. But Cat Potter from towards the back into the top 10 as Henry Howarth grabs the lead.
Saw an opening and managed to take it, and very, very good job to make sure there was no contact as well. But it looks like Mackenzie's managed to get a better run on him and a little bit of contact. Oh, that was. I don't know whether Mackenzie started to close the door a little bit under braking, but I mean, I'm sure the stewards will have their say on it.
They will. I had a mini driver from another series today sending me clips, and lots of drivers send me clips to show their side of things outside of race weekend. And it is lovely that people take the time to send them. I do appreciate it, but I don't always get the chance to give them my full attention. But yeah, ultimately decisions are down to Clark. So Henry now the leader. Mackenzie Taylor in 2nd place. James Black is 3rd. We're on board with Will Yap. You can see in the mirror Andy Dorman trying to close up. Andy P2 in the championship with 27 kg, as a reminder for what we said in race number 1. So Andy's doing a good job in this reverse grid race, but 6th position, Paul Laramie 7th, Kevin Yap next up from Cat Potter, and Lewis Stannard in 10th place. So Lewis where he's virtually where he started, one place down where he started, but I think Lewis was doing what he said in the interview. He's keeping his powder dry, let them all sort themselves out, and then start to pick a few places off. He knows he's got good pace, he knows he's carrying a lot of ballast, and he knows that a good finish will give him some decent points.
I mean, there's still just under 25 minutes to go in this race. There's a long way to go, so he doesn't need to rush any of the moves. He can take his time and make sure that he picks his moves right, and doesn't get into any more chaos.
Well, Will Yap and Andy Dorman were together towards the closing stages of race 1, and Will just going wide there, but left room for Andy Dorman on the outside. Andy goes a little bit deeper into the hairpin, so good clean racing from those two just now, with Paul Laramie right in behind as well, and Paul trying to get involved in the mix there and climb up the points for this one. 0.6 of a second roundabout, the gap between Henry Houth and James Black, with Mackenzie Taylor next up as Monroe Renard in the 69 in 5th place. Will Yap having a very good run in this one as well. It will build the confidence, won't it, starting off the front of the grid. We saw him put in a good strong performance at our first event as well. As up the inside now goes Andy Dorman, with Paul Laramie right behind him as well. So a good 5-way or 4-way scrap actually between these guys. Yap, Renard, Dorman and Laramie. Kevin Yap down behind as well. And we follow them out of Lodge Corner and back to the race leaders. Henry not getting away at the moment, so James Black's putting in a good performance here. He's our driver of the round for our opening event at Donington Park, and the fact that he's giving, I shouldn't sound surprised, but he's giving Henry Houth a good workout here as we flick back to Monroe Renard making a good move there. So Monroe up ahead of Will Yap. Will Monroe having a really good race out of it, and Andy Dorman in behind as well, with Paul Laramie, one of our regulars. Kevin Yap up into 8th, Lewis Stannard now up into 9th, Lee Piercy down into 10th, and Paul Laramie makes a move down the inside. You see how deep he went into the corner, gets the move done, does Andy Dorman, at the expense of Lewis Stannard, who will fight back again. Lewis is reading these other drivers really well, I think.
No, he's using his head very well. I mean, I'm sure the real life experience is most definitely coming into play now. But no, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. The time will come for him to overtake the cars in front, and just needs to make sure he picks the right place to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 targets, isn't he, in front of him? I don't like the word target because that sort of infers that he's going to hit them. He's not. He's aiming to pass, shall we say, the 3 cars in front, and he should be able to, with the pace that we've seen from him, pick them off one by one. But Paul Laramie did a very good move to get in front, and if you can do that, then equally you can defend as well. So we'll see what Lewis can do from 8th place. Paul makes a little mistake there. Look how much speed that scrubbed off the car, and Lewis places the car very close indeed, but not so close that they get contact. I didn't see any contact flicking up on the screen, but Lewis Stannard again read that well and just slots through and makes up the position.
But that was Andy Dorman actually just going through. I think.
Oh,
Lewis
beg your pardon. Yes, it was. Yeah, good spot.
Lewis is 3 seconds behind, but no, it was good. Good move from Andy. Read the situation very well, and now got in front of Paul, and now he needs to be making sure he's looking forward, trying to overtake the next couple of cars in front to try and gain as many points as he can.
Will. So Andy Dorman, apologies to Lewis and Andy on that one, and it is Andy now having a quick look at Will Yap, see if he can get past Will. Monroe Renard still running in a nice and strong 4th position at the moment. Is he going to be able to get away from this group maybe? He showed good pace and really getting used to this racing as he goes through the Knickerbrook chicane out of his lops and then up Clay Hill once again. So Henry Houth, what's the gap? 1/10. So yeah, James Black is not letting him get away out front. Very close between those two, and also not that far behind as well is Mackenzie Taylor. So wherever you look, there are battles going on. Cat Potter's dropped away out of the top 10, down in 13th, but still ahead of Kenny Press, Andy Carroll. Chris McKenzie in 16th, Jack McCall in 17th, Callum Einstein at the rear of the runners at the moment, but certainly with the potential to close up as we ride with Will Yap again out of Deer Leap. and down across the line past the pits complex, still trying to head up and challenge for 4th place, but we'll be mindful of Andy Dorman in behind. You can see in the mirror on the left that Andy Dorman is very much there, but Will Yappy's a lot closer to the car in front. This meanwhile is the battle for the lead all going on here, and James Black, great to see him putting the pressure on Henry Howarth here. James is all over him, really putting the pressure on, looks one way then the other, and he can afford the luxury of taking the wide line into the hairpin, hoping for a gap on the exit, but he's got to be mindful of Mackenzie Taylor back in 3rd. Mackenzie driving well. We did see some contact earlier on, but things have settled down now, haven't they, with that 3?
We all want to see a clean race between them all, and that's what we're getting at the minute. I think I saw a very brief changer for the lead. I think they went side by side into turn 1, but no, I mean, with the gap being under a second between all 3 cars, it's really shown for great racing.
It is great little race going on here in our reverse grid. Once they get sorted out, we just need those first couple of corners to be ironed out a little bit more. I'm sure they will. It's so much easier, I suppose, to get closer on a sim, because you know you can get away with the damage. But here we go. Henry Howarth, a little bit of breathing space at the moment as James Black will try and work towards getting closer and maybe having another go. Mindful of Mackenzie Taylor in the mirror, back with Will Yapp still in 6th place. Andy Dorman now up into 4, so Andy's managed to clear those guys, so Andy's done a good job. Again, 2nd place man in the championship will again, Andy Dorman, once he gets I was just thinking in terms of his results, he's had a 1st and a 2nd, a 2nd and a 3rd at Snetterton, Andy Dorman, so this potentially will be his, I think, probably be his dropped round out of the 3 we've had, but it's going to push him or keep him in P2 as we go side by side for the lead. James Black on the outside, Henry Howarth on the inside's got the line, goes a little bit deeper than perhaps he would want to, and that leaves the door open for James Black to go through, and James Black has passed Henry Howarth and grabs the lead.
Henry just outbroke himself that little bit too much, and that created a lovely gap for James to go through, and now hopefully he wants to try and bridge the gap now to Henry. I don't know if Henry's... Move there, very opportunistic from Henry there. You don't usually go for a move there, I have to say. But no, I mean, it's creating great racing, but a little bit of contact there. But I'm sure it will settle down.
I think Henry wants another appointment with Luke and Rich after this one, our 2 stewards, but he did cede that position back, didn't he? Didn't make the most of the disadvantage. And again, there's a little bit of argy-bargy there.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie Taylor drops back. These 3, if they carry on like this, Andy Dorman will be on them quicker than we think. Andy Dorman in 4th place. What I was going to say was that James Black and Henry Howarth, their best laps are 1:32.8. There's only 1/1000th of a second between their best laps. They are very, very evenly matched in this one. So
I was going to say, I don't know if Henry's got a little bit more tyre wear than James. James seems to be all over Henry when he's behind him, so I'm not sure if Henry's got a little bit more tyre wear than James, but
that could well be the case, couldn't it, as we watch Paul Laramie dicing with Lewis Stannard. Lewis starting to build his way up through the field, so Lewis up into 7th now. This is a good stealthy drive from Lewis, pretty much as he said, make up a few places when you can. He's doing that. Lewis's next target's going to be Will Yapp in the Napa Alliance Racing car. You can see the Alliance livery there just ahead of them. So Lewis not in podium territory yet, but we go back to our race leaders. James Black coming under pressure again from Henry Howarth, and this is down from Hilltop into the chicane, and he's all over the back. Yeah, this is great stuff, very evenly matched, exactly what we want to see. Mackenzie Taylor, at this stage I don't know whether a driver wants to get involved or whether they maybe take a couple of laps just to watch what's going on. There's plenty of contact going on a little bit further down, which is flicking up on the timing screen. I think that may be involving Paul Laramie, who's dropped out of the top 10, Kevin Yapp down behind him, and Alex Solly. And we'll come back to our race leaders
Harry's
in a
just
minute.
gone back up to... contact between Harry and Lewis. Don't know what happened there, but Lewis going off, but Harry, out of nowhere, he's made his way back up right into the top 10.
Do you know, I hadn't spotted that. I saw Harry down the bottom in the early stages, Harry Hickton, but he's picked his way back up now. We're going to change for the lead. And going down the inside, Henry Howarth with a great move down the inside, but again carries almost a little bit too much speed, uses the runoff area quite a bit there, but keeps it pointing in the right direction. Now we've got Mackenzie Taylor all over the James Black. as James tries to close back in on Henry Houth. He knows he's passed Henry once, so wants to try and do it again. And Mackenzie Taylor in the mix now as well. Dives out to the outside of the Clive Empson machine and down into the hairpin here. Can he grab the wide line in, get a bit more speed on the way out? It looks like James Black got better momentum through the hairpin, so maybe the timing not quite right for Mackenzie Taylor, but he'll know that he's got the potential to still get involved as the three of them come down into the chicane again. What we can see now is Andy Dorman is not that far behind. So Andy Dorman, if they carry on doing these three, it is going to help Andy Dorman in fourth place close up. Will Yap still in fifth. It's Lee Piercy now sixth. Harry Hickton in seventh. Paul Laramie eighth from Alex Solly. Lewis Stannard in 10th. Yeah, and I hope that Luke Cordell hasn't made too many plans for the clerking session.
Yeah, I agree. There's been a lot of action in this race, but it is started to settle down a little bit now. I think the top three staying relatively close together. I think Mackenzie just needs to sit tight for a couple of laps, just see if any other moves get thrown at each other with Henry and James, and see if he can pounce on any of them.
I've got to ask you, Archie. I mean, is there the scenario when you're in? We're not looking at the top three right now. We're looking at Harry Hickton coming out. Here we go with the top three. If you're in this third position, you know, do you consider that sitting back and watch it? They're not that close, or do you just want to push on to the front? I know the Jamie Caroline answer, as far as F4 will be, oh, I'm always going to push on to the front. But there are going to be times, I guess, where if you've got space behind you, you can afford to take stock.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you do want to be up there with them, but as we've seen through this race, there has been bits of contact, and you don't know how bad the bits of contact could be, as there's a spinner towards the back. I think that's Piercy, I think it is. Yeah. But as I was saying, you know, you may want to sit back, see what kind of contact happens, and if so, you could capitalise on it and gain a position or two out of it.
That's good to get your thoughts. Andy Dorman lapping in the best lap's 132. Mackenzie Taylor's best lap 133. Last lap was a 132. So actually Andy Dorman is the quickest. The fourth place driver is the quickest of the drivers in the top four, and therefore closing in a little bit lap by lap. Whether he's going to get close enough by the end to do anything. Alex Solly has had a clash with Lewis Stannard, we're seeing on the timing screen. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of judicial. I think it's fair to say not as many blatant judicials in this one, although I may be corrected by Rich and Luke after the programme is finished, but it's still Henry Houth from James Black, and these two having a good old race. I'd love to see James back on track for real. That would be really good to see, and I hope that he can get something sorted out. And he's putting Henry Houth under a lot of pressure here. And this is good for Henry, isn't it? Learning how to soak up the pressure in the race lead. We know he can chase. I guess we know he can defend as well. As we pop back there is Lewis Stannard back up into 8th place and hunting down Alex Solly. So Alex comes across the line now. So two of our podium finishers as far as qualifying was concerned right together, and some decent points going on between those two. Of course, every point will count for Lewis Stannard because he wasn't with us at week 1, late entrant to the championship. So every point will count, every place gained will count, because he knows that his non-score, his non-entry for the first round will be his drop score. As he comes to the outside, having a look here, Alex Solly goes with a little bit of a touch on the back of Alex's car. Now, did that, in your opinion, did that dishevel Alex a little bit?
I do feel like it could have. That little tap did make him go a little bit deep, and I do feel that's what allowed Lewis to go through. But we'll have a look whether Lewis decides to give the position back so he avoids a penalty or not, or whether he decides to push on from here and try and do a bit of damage limitation, as it's not been the most ideal race for him.
It hasn't, has it, so far? Top two, I'm looking in the mirror and you can see Mackenzie Taylor's dropped a little way back, so it's very much only these two at the moment for the race lead. And James Black keeping Henry Houth very honest indeed at the moment as they go under the bridge. And across the finish line again, we've got a third of the race left, 11:11 left as they go across the. And this is good news for James Black because he doesn't have to worry about that third place car at the moment until he catches up. I don't know if it's these two getting away. I'm looking at Andy Dorman. Andy's not really closing in on Mackenzie Taylor. So these two are maintaining a good pace despite battling. And Henry Houth looks like he's throwing it around and enjoying the Oulton Park experience at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mackenzie dropping back a bit will be the best situation for James. That'll allow him to try and throw a couple of moves on Henry without there being the threat of Mackenzie throwing one on him. So I feel we could, in the next couple of laps, possibly see a couple of moves thrown. and possibly a difference for the lead as well.
Our race director Steve has thrown down to 9th place Kenny Press. He's there from Handicap. Kenny's having a good run, which is excellent to see. Kenny looks after all our liveries and logos. If you want to join us, you're very welcome to come in. You can still enter this championship if you want to do a last few rounds. You'd be more than welcome to come and join us. And Kenny's the guy that will look after your logo requirements and livery requirements. Does a fantastic job on all of our cars. Having a good race here up into 9th. Going to have to start thinking about driver of the round. That's going to be a headache, I think, for this one, because there are quite a few good performances going on out there, including Kenny Press, who's just come through everything and got up into the top 10, doing an absolutely mega job. Andy Carroll behind him. So having a look who else we've got up in towards the top 10. Monroe Reynolds dropped down to 12th, which is a little bit of a pity. Cat Potter in 14th. So yeah, we'll get our thinking caps on and try and come up with some ideas about that. But James Black was driver of the round at our first event. He's putting Henry Howarth under a heck of a lot of pressure at the moment. Henry soaking up very well indeed.
I agree. I mean, it was a little slide for Henry midway through Cascades. Whether that all compromises run down to the hairpin, James may try and look for the inside, but I think Henry's going to cover that, and it might be looking at the switchback now for James and seeing whether he can get a better run out of the hairpin.
Yep, he's
but Henry
running.
managed to cover it very well. I don't think James is going to send a move here. I think he's a little bit too far back for a move.
Yeah, too far back at the moment. So Alex Solly now, and Lewis Stannard has again picked his way through. Another position gained up into 7th place. So a good move from him. Paul Laramie will be his next aim as he goes down the hill. There is Paul Laramie just coming down into the chicane. Ahead of him is Harry Hickton, who's come through. Really good recovery from Harry Hickton in this one. Race 1 winner, did a super job. Possibly could be a contender for driver of the round as well. Certainly Kenny Press has put himself in the mix with a good drive up from the back as well. And we do need to look right the way through the field.
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's been a really good recovery from Harry. I think by lap 1 I saw him down in 17th, and to have made it back up to 5th, it's been a very good drive from him.
He's going to be able to get up into 4th as we go back to our leaders. Henry Howe's still there. James Black in P2. James could be a contender for driver of the round again. This has been really good stuff in race 2. Henry Howarth as well is going to be someone we need to consider for that, because he's fought back, he's made passes when he's needed to, and defended when he's needed to as well. So he's kind of been the complete package here. Had a reasonable qualifying by his own standards, as well as the pair of them go down into the hairpin once again. So it's Howarth, Black, Mackenzie Taylor in 3rd, having a good steady run too. Andy Dorman 4th from Harry Hickton. Things relatively settled for a few minutes. You sometimes do get this part of the race where things might start to come to the boil towards the end. Andy Dorman, though, is closing up on Mackenzie Taylor now, so 3rd's getting a little bit closer. Not sure Harry Hickton's going to have enough time to close in unless the Taylor and Dorman battle starts to happen. But Andy Dorman, a reminder, he's the heaviest driver ballast combination in the top 5 at the moment, so doing a good job reeling in Mackenzie Taylor here is Andy Dorman, and it is going to be a battle soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the way Andy's driven through this race, having a few problems with contact, but now he's managed to settle down and he's closed the gap to Mackenzie each lap, and I do feel like he is going to be able to put a move on him in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, it's changed for Mackenzie, isn't it, from being a player in terms of the overall podium, the overall lead indeed. The race now finds himself having to think about defending soon that 3rd place to maybe keep himself on the podium, as James Black just a little bit of breathing space now. Henry Howarth has managed to eke out a little bit. Last lap 1:32.55 for Henry Howarth. James Black a 1:32.59, so a little bit slower, but he's starting to build the momentum up again and getting closer. So he's responding to that gap that had developed, and it's negated once again as they go down. Slightest of touches there. Nothing untoward by my book, but he's just letting him know he's there. Little tap on the rear end. Hello, here I am. Let's race.
He knew what he was doing there. He managed to park it nicely on the apex and didn't allow James to get a run on him. So yeah, very good position in the car from Henry.
Yeah, great defence from him. Whoever gets this, it's going to be a very well-earned win. and I'm assuming it's going to come from these two. They're keeping it mostly clean at the moment. James Black having another look. Henry Howarth is again there. He can afford to make the odd mistake, can Henry, but a big mistake throw him off. A little bit wide there, maybe took a little bit too much curve. Has that allowed James Black to close up again? Can't quite get close enough as they go into the final turn here at Lodge. Down into Dealing, they will go again. Flick back to Andy Dorman, closing up on Mackenzie Taylor. Now he's got that close. I think Mackenzie Taylor may be responding a little bit in that defensive third place. Andy, yeah, very nearly in striking distance, but it's taking longer than I thought it would do for him to get back with him as we go back to our race leaders out front. Henry Howard still there. 4 minutes 41 on the clock. Relentless pace from both of them in this.
Yeah, I agree. Both have drove very well in this race. Managed to minimalise the contact over the last few laps and had a nice clean race.
Really good to see, and you know, we might not see passes at this stage, but you're seeing a proper race. Two drivers matching each other, one trying to put the moves on, the other one placing the car exactly right to defend. So really good stuff from the pair of them. And you know, in the last few laps, well, most of the race, they've been really good and clean as they come through the chicane again. Still getting a little bit closer for third and fourth behind. Harry Hickton trying to close in on that battle as well. Harry's still a little bit down the road. It has been a good recovery from Harry. I don't think he's going to be able to get close enough to a podium unless things go pear-shaped for these guys out front. And James Black closes in again. So James under the Warwick Bridge. They go once again. A little bit of a look back. And the Clive Empson car. Let's see whether he can do it. We go on board with him here. Closing up out of Lodge Corner they go. The tail end of what we normally see as the touring car grid markings here. And they go across the line onto another lap. Henry, for my money, just looking a little bit more comfortable than he did earlier on. And again, that could be the curse of the commentator. Runs a little wide there, but he just seems to have enough to stay in front.
I think Henry's placing his car in the right places, not allowing James to really put an attack on him, and that's allowing him to get good exits off the corners and make it really difficult for James to throw a move on him.
Yeah, running well. Here we come then. This is the scrap for third. Very definitely a battle now with Andy Dorman piling the pressure on Mackenzie Taylor. It's almost a carbon copy of what's going on for the lead. Dorman's managed to close down on him, and that means that psychologically there's a slight difference, isn't there? Because the front two have been together all the way through the race. These two, there was a gap and it's been closed up. So it's going to be a slightly different mindset for Mackenzie Taylor in third place. Did respond momentarily and got away, and I think he's doing that again. He seems to be a little bit quicker through the twists and turns of the chicane and heading up the hill as we go back to James Black still hounding Henry Howarth here. How long have we got to go? 2 minutes 18. We're into the closing stages of this one. Still can't make my mind up. We're going to have to ping a few things. Maybe Rhea and Luke can ping their ideas about driver of the round as well into the chat as we think. Let me see. This is going to be, I reckon, they'll be going on to the penultimate lap now as they head down towards the line.
Yeah. Going to be a bit desperation now, I think, for James. You know, he's been on the back of Henry for so long. I think he's going to get a bit bored of looking at the rear end of Henry now. So I think he will definitely, in the next lap or so, be looking to try and throw a move on him, try and force him into a mistake and try and take the lead of him.
Getting a few suggestions through, which I agree with on driver of the round. And yeah, Archie, you're absolutely right. He's going to have a go and draws level here. So is it going to be the car? Is the car in the right place though as they go down into the hairpin? Well, no, it isn't. He's on the outside. But that really shows Henry Howarth, doesn't it? That he is keen to get there. Henry will have known that, but now Henry knows that James Black is going to make a move.
Wake-up call for Henry now. I'm sure he'll be on his toes now for the next couple of laps and making sure he's really focusing and placing his car in the right places.
Couple of little love taps between the two cars. Henry runs wide. James Black, I think, was he momentarily thinking, is there an advantage there from a little tap? He's side by side. Yeah. He's got the inside right here. This is surely going to convert to the lead.
Yep, and it has. Nice little move there from James. Don't know if the tap compromised Henry going up the hill, but either way. James is in front now, and he's looking now, defending from Henry. Henry's trying to get back in front of him, but this is going to be a great battle for the next lap.
Absolutely superb stuff. And here comes Henry Howarth on the outside as they go into Lodge Corner, down through Deer Loop again. Henry goes wide here and he's got the outside run, side by side. Momentum as they go out the last corner. Howarth is back. Fantastic racing from the pair of them. Howarth back in front. It's all going to be about the run now down into Old Hall Corner. Back with third place now. Andy Dorman is up on the podium. Andy Dorman into third. It's James Black with his nose back in front again on the timing screen, but Henry Howarth pays the compliment. He's on the outside. James is going to dive down the inside. Some classical park action here. And it's James Black back in front. Henry Howarth, we know, has passed. There's been repassing. And are they going to do it again? Henry doing what James did a few laps back, looking on the outside as he go into the hairpin. I can see Henry here was maybe thinking about the run. Another little tap on the back. I think they've probably equalised each other's tap to each other there. And it's still Andy Dorman third, but Mackenzie Taylor hasn't given up in fourth either. So Mackenzie running well too, and trying to get back onto the podium, but James Black out front. Here comes Howarth, right into the back of the car. Does that disheveling, he goes across the grass. Howarth again tries to go through, maybe backed out of that because he realised he was a little bit too forceful. He's going to have another go, rattles the curbs, up the hill for the last time. This is absolutely intense.
I agree. I think Henry did back out of that because he knew he outbraked himself and put James at a disadvantage, but a very respectful race in there, letting him go back through. But now James is going to be on the defensive for the last corner. Henry's going to try and force him into a mistake or even throw a lunge around the outside. Who knows?
He's going to have a go. He's trying to get around the outside, and then it's very much, oh, he runs out on the grass, loses momentum there. It's going to be the drag to the flag. Here they come, side by side, up towards the line, and it's going to be very close indeed, and James Black takes it by a bumper from Henry Howarth. Andy Dorman gets third place. Mackenzie Taylor is fourth. A great result for Mackenzie Taylor. A terrific race from him. And Harry Hickton, who's recovered up into fifth place from Paul Laramie. It's going to be Lewis Stannard. Didn't talk too much about Lewis in that one, but for everything that went on with him, he battles his way through to seventh from Alex Solly. Andy Carroll ninth from Kenny Press. A top 10 for Kenny Press. Super race from him. Monroe Renard fought back for 11th from Kevin Yapley Piercy. Then Chris McKenzie and Will Yap. Cat Potter in 16th from Jack McCall. Callum Einstone will be disappointed with his one there. We'll get more luck, I'm sure, in a later round. But it's James Black that takes the win. As we say, always subject to official confirmation. Here comes Callum Einstone, our last runner, who I hope has enjoyed his racing. And we've seen some good work from everybody at some point over the two races. Incredibly difficult decision for driver of the round. I'm getting lots and lots of different ideas coming through on the chat, but I think I know where we're going, and we'll have to do that on the podium. Well done to all of our drivers, and thank you for entertaining us magnificently over the course of the two races. Let's have a word with or a message from one of our partners, and we'll have our podium in just a couple of minutes. I tell you what, it was really difficult out there, and making our lives difficult in terms of picking a driver of the round, but we have managed to make a decision. But well done to everybody, and I mean everybody, for some great performances this evening in our third event of the campaign. And we're going to start off with third position. I nearly called the wrong name out because I've written two different to what I normally do it. But Andy Dorman, third place. Steve, our director, was having a struggle there, covering things all the way down the grid, you know, including your moves up the field and closing down on the fourth place driver, on the third place driver, and then coming through, which you managed to do. So well done on that. Talk us through your race.
It's a bit of a blur, really. It was a bit chaotic, I think.
I think the opening few corners were. What happened for you in the opening corners, or is that the blur that you're talking about?
I got turned round at the hairpin, and I don't know what I
Right.
got down to, and then I managed to pick my way back up the field, I think.
It was a good recovery, and you know, Mackenzie Taylor, he was a good adversary as well, wasn't he, in those stages?
Oh yeah, it was really close racing. I think I just got past him because he made a little mistake and I got a run on him, which made my life a bit easier. But no, he was defending really well.
You got a lot of ballast on, obviously being second in the championship, and the championship complexion changes from round to round because you've done all the rounds so far, both rounds so far. So you have to drop a lot of points, and you're probably still going to have to drop a lot of points because you've scored well this evening as well.
Yeah, I think it makes it easier when you've got a constant amount of ballast. I'm quite pleased I'm not up and down the table and changing.
Right, okay.
Learning
Yeah.
each week how it changes, because it changes quite drastically.
So you know what you've got to work with, kind of thing.
Yeah, I've just got used to being a bit slow on the hairpins and stuff, and just adapting my driving style to compensate for it.
Oh, good stuff. Well, really, really cracking drive, mate, and very entertaining to watch. Probably going to have to watch it back to double check on what some of the others have done. But it's Croft next time. Isn't that your local circuit, Croft? Bradley, or have I got that wrong?
That is my local circuit. I grew up at Croft. So yeah, hopefully I'll do reasonably well at Croft.
That's always the curse of the commentator, isn't it? We say it's your local circuit, should be all right there.
Yeah, I should be, hopefully. But I don't think I've ever done very well on the sim round Croft so far, so hopefully my luck might change this time.
Fingers crossed for you. Mind, it's always better to do better in the real world, isn't it?
Yeah, I've not done my race license yet, so I've only done track days around Croft.
Right, got you. Okay. Yeah, it's a good place. We had a nice weekend up there with lots of friendly people, so looking forward to going back. And I say a couple of visits this season, which is good. Andy, well done. Good to see you in P3, a consistent podium finisher, and we'll have to work the points out and see where we are. But cracking drive from you, mate. Well done.
Yep, brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Andy. Good to see Andy Dorman back on the podium with a hard-earned third place, and even more hard-earned second place. Let's have a quick word with Henry Howarth. Henry, that was a bit of a workout, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a very chaotic race, all the way from the start all the way to the end, really. Yeah, it was a tough race with James. It was definitely a very hard-fought race. I think at the end they probably didn't quite leave enough space at the end, but we'll have to take a look at that and see what happened at that last corner. But overall, it was still a really good race.
And, decent points this evening as well, isn't it? So, that'll put you on a good championship footing. And does that change the mindset at all? I mean, obviously you're in a good place in the real world championship, and if you can get some decent points in this, how does that affect things? Are you chasing points to start with, and do you then settle down, or is it a different mindset?
To be honest, yes, it's good points. At the end of the day, I'm just here because I just want to win races. To be honest, I'm not as fussed about the points, but I'm a racing driver through and through, so I'd like to come in and win a few more. It'll be interesting to see what happens at Croft, being quite a tight circuit, so I'm going to have to hone my quality because it's quite important to have a good position there. But yeah, no, it should be good.
In terms of, I lost count of how many times there were little taps here and there, and that's pretty much all there were. Certainly in the later stages, there was probably some contact that would be looked at a little bit more seriously earlier on from lots of people in the race. But you must have enjoyed racing with James there. It was really good nip and tuck stuff between the pair of you.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a great race with James. He pushed me all the way to the end, and we had some really good battles. And yeah, Robin's racing, so I really enjoyed it. And there's nothing that I thought was too aggressive, apart from maybe that last corner. But again, we just have to look at this stuff and just see what happened. But overall, it was a really good race with James, and yeah, I look forward to having some more at Croft.
We look forward to that as well. Well done, Henry Howarth. Second position, a cracking race. You led for most of it, which was a mega job, Henry Howarth in P2. And we'll see what happens next week at Croft. Look forward to seeing you there. And our race winner, James Black, you were driver of the round at our first event, James. But what a race you just had with Henry. Really entertaining for us to watch. And I'm guessing you enjoyed it in the Clive Emerson car.
Yeah, it was a interesting one. So yeah, with mainly me, Henry, and Mackenzie for most of it. But yeah, say the race one didn't go too. My race ones aren't going well in this series. I'm not sure why, but
No.
my internet decided not to internet, which you don't get in real life. But it was all right for race two, and yeah, we had a good battle. A sea of cars disappeared in front of me at turn two, which was very nice. And then yeah, we just cracked on, got our head down, and yeah, managed to just nip it on the last lap.
I mean, looking at the lap times through the course of the race, you and Henry, there was literally, I think your best lap at one point, there was only a thousandth of a second between you. So you were so evenly matched, and it was always going to be very closely matched. And you know, sometimes it can just develop into follow a leader and try and match each other, which is exciting to watch. But there was the odd rub, and you both gave it back or it looks like you both gave it back where you felt you maybe overstepped the mark.
Exactly, it's one of, especially with online racing. You know, not everyone's got that perfect, internet as such. Which
No.
in real life you can't blame internet for crashing into someone. But yeah, it was a good race. Like, my girlfriend and my dad was screaming in the room next to me. Lucky enough I had my headset on, I couldn't hear them too much. But yeah, every move or everything like that, like, oh my god. So yeah, it was pretty warm, and say like a half an hour race as well. You have to sort of sit there and let it play out, because even if I think I got in front with like 20 minutes to go, I was just like, I've got to defend for 20 minutes, so I'm just making my life a bit harder. So, but yeah, I think Croft next time out will be fun as well. But yeah, that was a really good battle all the way throughout the race.
Do you like Croft? Is that somewhat? I can't remember where you have and haven't raced, but have you raced there?
Yeah, Croft's is amazing. She gets to that last corner, which is horrendous. But yeah,
Everybody says that.
Still the bugbear corner. I'm still working on that one. But yeah, the 95% of the track is mega. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I just spent a weekend watching and commentating on racing there, and you can, there's so many ways you can get past on that last corner, and that's why people can't, always get it right. But yeah, difficult. I'm just looking at the stats actually, and I think I've got this right. We've had 6 races, mini challenge E-series with VRRC, and you're our 6th different winner in 6 races. It's pretty competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's similar to how Cooper's is this year. If anyone's been watching that, we've had so many different race winners. You can't really pick who's going to come out on top. And I think, 6 out of 6, 6 different winners for 6 different races is brilliant. I think the reverse grid stuff, albeit quite carnage, is lending itself quite well to them sort of winners. But yeah, that's a cool stat actually.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's great for us, great for me as well to see that and to promote it. It means that consistency is going to be important. I think Lewis Stannard did a good job getting where he did after what happened. But really good stuff. James, have a great week. Congratulations on taking that win and being our 6th different winner. And thanks for entertaining us, mate. Have a good one.
Thank you very much, Richard. See you all next week.
Yeah, I look forward to that. We've got still got to do our driver of the round. And that we've invited into the virtual com sports Harry Hickton, who took a win, a great recovery in the second race, and of course that pole position. So Harry, you are our driver of the round.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, a bit of a chaotic wreck. Well, I don't really see what happened, but I just went through turn 2 and I was in the gravel. So yeah, I sort of had no choice but to come back. I really do anything about it, couldn't see. So yeah, it was again good fun coming from the back, but I think just one of them ones that could have been.
We're gonna have to wait another week to see the race off between you and Henry Howe. So we want to get you after the last time. We want to get you together on the same row of the grid. So we've got that to look forward to. So a little bit of anticipation maybe building up for that. But yeah, really good, consistent. Fast obviously at the start of the meeting, well, fast in the second race as well, and a good recovery. We were sort of speculating whether you'd be able to get out and dice for a podium, but the guys at the front were putting in some good pace racing as well.
Yeah, I think another lap or 2 I would have been fighting for the podium with them too. It's funny because in the first race I was thinking why are these races so long? They have to be short. They have to be shorter. And then the last one, I was thinking they've got to be longer. They have to be longer races. So yeah, it's funny how it goes. Funny how it goes like that. But yeah, I think kept my nose pretty clean. Apart from obviously the start, which I couldn't do anything about. And then yeah, picked up some decent points.
Yeah, it's really good. So, well done, Harry. I'm going to let everyone get away. I know a few people have got early mornings tomorrow, but well done on taking pole of the win and driver of the round. Many congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
So that's our podium interviews complete for the evening. Really good fun. We're going to look ahead to next week. Before we do that, though, I just want massive thanks again to Archie Johnson. The quality of the co-commentators we've had just is so high. So thank you to Ria Beauchamp for sorting those out. And each of our co-commentators we've had have been brilliant. It's going to put Henry Foot under pressure again next week. Henry's done it with us before. He knows what to do. But Archie, real pleasure, mate. Really well done, and thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts on the day?
No, I thought it was brilliant. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time, and I feel like we've had some brilliant racing as well to commentate on. I think it's been brilliant. Thank you.
It has, and I think hopefully we'll get you to join us again at some point if we can redo the mini championship at a later date. Hopefully we'll have another one, maybe over the winter, something like that, which will be great. We're doing a little flyby at Croft at the moment, as you can see, which is where we're going to be next week. I was going to have a look at the championship standings, but you know what? I think we'll let Luke and Rich sort out the judicials, and we'll update you at the start of next week's round, which is going to be at Virtual North Yorkshire, which you can see in the background. But from all of us here at VRRC, thanks ever so much for joining us. If you did enjoy it, tell everybody else. It would be great to have a little bit more company next week as well. But from Archie, Steve, our director, thanks Steve again for a great job. Everyone at VRRC and the mini challenge, thanks for watching. Be nice to each other, and we'll see you next week.
Between the two of them,
The inside of Coates.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.